All right, perfect. So welcome. Thanks for joining me. My name is Tiffany Coman, and I am an advisor coordinator here at IPE, and I'm going to talk a little bit today about winter study abroad options as a CS major. And then we're also going to get into not just the options, but some of the steps of the processes, some of the steps in the process as well. So, like I said, my name is Tiffany Coman. I use she, her pronouns. I'm an advisor coordinator at IPE, and I also put my contact information down there if you need it. And there on the right-hand side is actually a picture of me when I studied abroad. When I was in college, I studied abroad in Seoul, South Korea, and that picture is actually from the Seoul Tower. So I am a living testament that study abroad is great, and that it's a life-changing experience, and hopefully we can get more CS students on some of our programs to experience this. So here's a quick overview of what we're going to do today. So we'll talk a little bit about why you should go abroad as a computer science major, what that timeline looks like. We're going to talk about the new upper level CS policy. So maybe you've heard a little bit about it, but if not, I'm going to introduce it. We'll talk about some winter semester program options, and then we'll go through some of the transfer credit processes, resources, and some next steps. So why is studying abroad important? So studying abroad is important for many reasons, but one of the more central ones I would say is that it really allows you to embrace what the college calls people first engineering. So really building those soft skills, that intercultural competence, the ability to communicate with people from different backgrounds or different cultures. It also, from a professional standpoint, allows you to build a global network. So we know that the CS job market is getting a little tough these days, but you can definitely build a network outside of just UM-IPE through studying abroad and make some really great connections that might be able to help you with future career opportunities. Studying abroad is also really great for developing some of those personal skills. So you become more resilient, you become more better able to problem solve. You also become more adaptable. And it's also interesting from a computer science perspective because you can learn about how other cultures approach things like computer programming, about AI, how they approach machine learning, and all of those topics. And then last but definitely not least, it's also just fun. It's fun to, experience a new place, get outside of UM-IPE's campus and just meet new people and have new experiences. So this is a very kind of brief rundown of what the winter program application timeline looks like. So right now we're in this winter term, so it's about a year before you might go abroad, maybe even 2 years if you're a first year student. So this is when our applications open and when it's prime time to start researching your options and making that long-term plan. And then as we move into spring and summer here, this is a great time to work on some course equivalency if you need to really narrow in like what is your top option, do some more of that exploration. And then early fall, so in early September, that'll be when our application deadlines are. And then a few weeks after that, that's when we start to do admissions decisions, you confirm, and then you start to get ready for your experience. So next, I'm going to introduce the new upper level CS policy, which will become effective this upcoming fall, so fall 2024. So I've linked here the new 2024-2025 CS program guide, but essentially it says, instead of taking 16 upper level CS credits, students now only have to take 15 upper level CS credits, and at least 3 of those credits need to be from the expanded upper level CS list. And this expanded upper level CS list is really neat because it includes anything that is 400 level or above in the CS department. So what does this mean? This means that any 3 credit or more study abroad course that is labeled as CSE 400 level department credit in the course equivalency database can count towards upper level CS. So that's really exciting. Most of our winter programs have at least a few these upper level CS courses. So that means pretty much anywhere you go, you can get at least one upper level CS class. It is important to note, however, only one course in these upper level, these CSE 400 level department credits can go towards upper level CS. And then any additional course you take that counts as this like CSE 400 level department will automatically go towards Flex Tech. But it's a really exciting update. I would encourage you, if you have questions, to reach out to your CS advisor about it. But essentially it has just made a lot of our programs a lot more applicable to some of those upper level CS degree requirements. So next I'm going to dive into some of the specific programs that a lot of our CSE students participate in. And by far the most popular one is definitely our Computer Science and Tech Career Accelerator in Prague. Right now we have about 30 CSE students and another 30 CSLSA students who are on this program. I actually just visited this program in March, so I got to see all of them and it was really cool. But I'll tell you why it's super popular. That is because it is designed to sort of match your junior year winter CS curriculum. So there's 3 required classes that you'll take: EECS 497, EECS 496, and then TechCom 497. And taking all 3 of those together will help satisfy your CS major design experience, which is really neat. And then they do also have a variety of CS, upper level CS electives, as well as non-CS electives that you can take to sort of round out your schedule. So for those reasons, it's very, very popular with our current CS students. Maybe you've heard about the program before. This is our 2nd year running it. But yes, great program. And it runs mid-January to mid-May, so it lines up pretty well if you want to do internships or anything like that in the summer. Usually you have plenty of flexibility there. And this program falls under what we call a program fee. So the really nice part about this, especially if you're an out-of-state student, is that you don't have to pay UM tuition for your semester abroad on this program. You will just pay the flat program fee. So this year that was about 17,500, but it might go up a little bit for the coming years, just depending. But yes, like I said, there's a lot of other things that make this program unique. So for instance, it's a very personalized experience. So instead of going to like a big university where you're taking classes with hundreds of students, it's very small class sizes. All the classes are 25 students or less, and you're taking all of your classes at a study center in Prague as opposed to a big university. And this study center specifically catered to US students, US style of teaching and learning. So it's really neat. You get a lot of personalized, individualized attention from faculty and staff, which is awesome. And then also a really neat thing is a lot of the cultural activities, there's excursions and housing that is all included in your program fee. So you don't have to pay anything extra on top of that tuition. But yes, I've also linked here in the title, you'll have links directly to our program pages that'll have more information about all of these programs, and it'll also have the link to apply as well. Yes, Prague is great, by far our most popular option for CS students, and it's a wonderful, super safe, super affordable location. Next, we have another location that we have a couple of CS students at every year, which is our French-American exchange program in Cergy-Pontoise, France. This is really neat. It's not in Paris. It's a little bit outside of Paris, about 40-45 minutes away by train. It's in like a college town, more of a suburb. But this program is similar to Prague in that there's a lot of like pre-prescribed courses. So instead of having to cipher and go through like 200 or 300 courses at a partner university, they give you like a pre-prescribed list of classes you can take at NZO, which is a college that is dedicated solely to electrical and computer engineering, as well as computer science. So that's really neat. Similar to the Prague program, you don't have to pay any UM-IPE tuition for this program. It's just a flat fee. And it's actually, I think, our most affordable semester program. So it's just under $5,000 there. That does not include the housing fee, but the housing fee is also relatively low. But yeah, a pretty nice, affordable program. And then some example courses. So they have a couple of those, like I was talking about, those CSE 400 level classes you could take for upper level CS. So an operating systems class. They also have Stats 412. And then they have a couple of lower level EECS electives that you could take. So as I mentioned, what makes this program unique is that it's pretty low cost, relatively speaking, especially if you're an out-of-state student, is much more affordable than your semester tuition here at UM-IPE. Another nice thing is they have 2 kind of term breaks throughout the semester that are 2 weeks long each. So it's perfect if you are someone who wants to travel a lot during your semester abroad. It's very like you get plenty of time to rest, study, travel, do whatever you need. And they also have ultra small class sizes. So most of the classes are less than 10 people. So you get a chance to really like get to know your professors, get to know the other students. And it's just a nice kind of small a cohort that goes each year. So next, kind of switching it up a little bit, we do also offer the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology for any of you who might be interested in spending your semester abroad in Asia. So this program, similar to our others, that starts late January, ends late May, so it lines up well if you want to do like June and July internships or anything like that. This program does the cost varies from the two that we just mentioned. So this is an exchange program, which means we do tuition exchange with HKUST. So you do pay your regular UMISH tuition for this program, and then you also pay a small fee to HKUST, which goes towards like housing and visas. And usually the HKUST fee is under $2,000 per semester. I think last semester is around $1,200 to $1,500. And this option is really nice because you are actually taking classes at the host university. It's a pretty big university, so you have the opportunity to study alongside the local students. You have a lot of course variety, which is great. So I put on there, for instance, you could take discrete math. You could take some of those upper level CS courses that we talked about that you could count towards upper level CS. Lots of variety there. It's really cool location. As you can see, the campus is like right on the water. And it's a relatively small campus too, so it's not overwhelming. And other things that make this program unique. So really low on-campus housing costs. Food is also relatively affordable. Like I said, the campus is right on the bay there. And it's also one of the most international universities in the world. So you definitely won't be alone in being an international student at HKUST. There are plenty of students from all over Asia, some from Europe, and then also some from North America as well. All right, and then I believe our last highlighted program is engineering in Stockholm. So this program is similar to the Prague program in that you are not going to be at like a traditional university, but rather a study center that is specifically for US and North American students. What's unique about this program, though, is that everyone takes one core course. And if you're a CS student, it's most likely you're going to take the machine learning core course, which you can count towards those upper level credits. And built into the core course is a free study trip. So each core course will take a week-long trip somewhere outside of Stockholm. So I believe the machine learning course sometimes goes to London, sometimes they go to Germany, but that's completely at no extra cost. That's built into the course for you. And then from there, you can pick kind of mix and match 3 or 4 optional electives. So they offer a couple of CS electives, like an app development course. They also offer Stats 412. And then they offer a lot of like Scandinavian and Swedish culture classes. So we have a student there. You can see in the picture, Jiu. She's there right now. She's taking the Swedish language and culture course, and she's having like such a good time. So yes, as I mentioned, what makes this program unique is that you're in a study center that's catered to US students rather than a really large university. And because of that, there's really comprehensive on-site support from DIS Abroad, which is the company that runs the study center. And then also they are very intentional about weaving Scandinavian culture and Swedish culture into the curriculum. So it's a great way to learn, not only just learn about Scandinavia by living there and being there, but you also get a lot of learning about the culture within the classroom as well. And the program cost, so this still TBD for winter 25, so it might vary a little bit. But this is similar to a couple of the other programs I mentioned where you pay this flat fee, and this flat fee includes your tuition, it includes housing, it includes excursions, and you don't have to pay UMISH tuition, which is great, especially if you're out of state. Any questions before I move on about like any of the programs I just mentioned? Feel free to pop them in the chat or save them for later too. But if there's no questions, I do also want to mention those aren't the only programs you can do as a CS major. Like I said earlier, we have CS majors who go on almost all of our programs. So those are just some of the ones that are a bit more popular for CS majors. But in a second here, I'll show you where you can find all of the IPE programs in case there's something else that might speak to you a bit more. So next, I'm just going to briefly cover the transfer credit process. So for some of our programs, like the Prague program or the French American Exchange program, the courses are pretty pre-prescribed, so you don't have to worry too much about like getting anything approved for transfer credit. But if you are at one of like our university partners like HKUST, sometimes you have to go through these steps just to make sure the classes you're taking are approved to transfer back to UM. So the first step I recommend is to check the academics tab of the program page, and that'll lay out like the course catalog, the course options, how to submit courses for approval. That'll be like a good starting point to kind of get an idea of what courses you might be able to take. Next is to verify that those courses that you're interested in are in the COE course equivalency database, which I've linked there. And in the event that they are not already in the database, you'll want to submit the name of the course as well as a copy of the syllabus through the transfer credit approval form or the TCAF. So if you've taken courses outside of UM before, like maybe at like a community college or a different school, you might be familiar with the TCAF, but very similar process. You submit the course, you submit a copy of the syllabus, and within about 2 to 4 weeks, they let you know if the course is approved or not. And then another crucial step is to just verify that whatever courses you're interested in are set to be taught in the winter term. So you can always double check this with the university's course catalog. Sometimes they don't release course catalogs until later in like the summer or fall. So sometimes you have to do this step a bit later, but important to verify that the courses are actually going to be taught when you're there. And probably like one of the biggest pieces of the transfer credit process is to make sure that you're working with your academic advisor and department advisors to understand how the courses you want to take can really fit into your overall degree plans. Which, speaking of, I just want to give a quick shout out to the CSE Undergraduate Advising Office. So maybe you work with them pretty regularly, maybe you don't, but I highly recommend connecting with their office to talk about your study abroad plans. They are all pretty familiar with some of our programs, especially the Prague program, so they can talk to you about how the credits will assist you with your degree, how to stay on track for graduation, and they can also give you maybe like recommended courses to take based on like maybe what other students have shared. So it's really important to connect with them kind of throughout this process, and maybe you have a specific advisor in their office you work with regularly, so I'd highly encourage you to reach out to them. It is important to note that IPE, we don't provide academic advising or verify graduation requirements for you. We can definitely help you figure out what courses you might be able to take, but we are not experts on your degrees, so it is super crucial that you're connecting with the undergraduate advising office and making sure that you're staying on track. And then I also linked down here how to make an appointment with the CSE advisor, just in case you want to talk about studying abroad or what remaining degree requirements you have that you might be able to fulfill abroad. But yeah, super great office. They're all really friendly. So highly recommend connecting with them if you haven't already. All right, so heading into some additional study abroad resources that can be helpful as you're sort of exploring this process. So a link there is to a list to all of IPE's programs. So in addition to winter semester programs, we do also have summer programs. So that might be of interest to you if a winter semester doesn't quite work with your plans. I also linked our funding page. So that is a great resource to learn more about financial aid that can be applied for study abroad and scholarships. People are actually, it's a common misconception that you can't use financial aid or scholarships for study abroad, but that's not true. We give out plenty in scholarship money, and then if you do have a FAFSA on file, you will be eligible for federal financial aid through any of our programs as well. So highly recommend exploring the funding page. And then I've also linked a couple of resources just to learn more about the on-site experience and the student experience. So Global Michigan has a page dedicated to identities abroad, And then we also have our IPE student blogs. So we have students each semester who do weekly blog posts for us. They talk about, their experience, their travels, cultural differences, and they're really interesting. So they can also help you decide like what location or what program might fit best with your interest as well. Yes, so next steps here. So now that you know a little bit more about studying abroad as a CS major, you have some resources on hand. What do you do now? So I recommend just explore your options on the IPE website. So you don't necessarily have to do what's most popular or what, your academic advisor tells you you should do. So definitely explore all of our options, explore the courses, see what location, what program might fit your needs the best. Another critical part is ensuring you have a valid US passport. And then if you're not a US citizen, making sure you have a valid passport from your home country. So generally speaking, the passport should be valid at least 6 months to a year after the end of the program. So if you don't have a passport that meets those qualifications, summer is a great time to start that renewal process. And you can also connect with me. We have some resources on how to get your passport renewed. We also offer free passport photos in our office every Friday, so we can definitely help you with that piece as well. And then I also recommend, like I said, working with the CS undergraduate advising office just to determine what coursework might be most appropriate while you're abroad, what remaining requirements you have left. And then if you are in one of our programs where you might need to get some courses approved, you're going to want to start working on that course approval process and over the summer or even early in the fall. All right. Any questions I can answer? I can go ahead and stop the recording as well.